Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton and Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, and today is September the 22nd, 2016. And it's a beautiful Thursday, Big C. I know we have some NFL football kicking off tonight, so I want to say bienvenidos to all of our Latin American followers, so thank you very much for that. Also, you good old boys over in London, England, as well as Berlin, and of course, the great country of Canada. Oh, Canada! I feel like I can still chop up the national anthem, but I love the first 3 seconds, Big C. That's all I'm good at singing right now, Big C. But I
don't even know if you can call it singing, Charles.
Okay, I call it hounding, like a dog is hounding. That's how it sounds sometimes, Big C. But also, you good old boys out in the United States of America. Remember this: the land of the free and the home of the brave. And speaking of home of the brave and land of the free, Big C, how's it going down south for you good old boys, Big C?
Well, Charlton, the South right now is in a bit of turmoil. And, last night I was up late, and it bothered me with all of what was going on in Charlotte. We like to start out the show on a high note.
Yeah.
But you can't with all of what's going on. I mean, the rioting that's occurring there on the shooting of an alleged unarmed man in Charlotte by a police officer.
Yeah.
Charlton, this is becoming too much. We had it last week in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where a police officer shot an unarmed man walking away from her.
Yeah.
Not towards her. She said she felt threatened because he was walking away.
Yeah.
Today, I'm glad to hear that the district attorney charged her with first-degree manslaughter.
Yeah.
Because it's in actuality what it was. But also, Charlton, in the news in Carolina, they were questioning Cam Newton, the quarterback.
Why Cam Newton? What does he have to do with it?
Yeah, and I was trying to figure that out. Cam Newton is an athlete trying to prepare for a game this Sunday, Charlton.
Yeah.
And you're putting him in the middle of this racial and social divide.
Yeah.
With the mainstream. Questioning him where he has to skate. He can't give a definitive answer.
Yeah.
But yet he has an owner, Jerry Richardson, Charlton.
Oh, yeah.
Who can speak vividly about any issue.
Yeah.
And not be scrutinized. But if you want to go to the black community and look at the spokesman, you have to look no further than Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Owner of the Charlotte Bobcats. He has no injection in this thought-wise, Charlton.
Yeah.
But, I think as a culture, you have to look back throughout the history. And you think about the Detroit riots in the 60s. You think about the Watts riots in the 60s, Charlton. Yeah. And even more recent time, you think about the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And even in Ferguson, Missouri, Charlton, where they had it with Michael Brown just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
There is never a resolve from this rioting, okay? It's people getting together, creating mass destruction and violence.
Yeah.
That is not the answer, Charlton. What we have to do, and every American is aware of this, Charlton, regardless of race, creed, or color.
Yeah.
We have 50 states, okay?
Yeah.
That means we have 50 attorney generals. These are the chief police officers of every state, the attorney general.
Yeah.
He has ultimate civil power, Charlton. They need to bring together all the police chiefs in every city. You want to talk about having a quorum. Bring together these police chiefs. Have it mediated by Harry Edwards.
Yeah.
Or some other prominent African American, Charlton.
Just not Don King, Big C, as long as it's not Don King.
We said prominent, Charlton.
Okay.
We didn't say probable.
Okay, sounds good.
But we need to bring these people together to find out why the training and lack of training of their police officers are creating such a racial and unjust divide in America, Charlton. Because you and I, as African American men, are 3.5 times more likely to lose our life from a police officer, law enforcement, than another race in America, Charlton.
Well, Big C, that's a very powerful statement. And speaking of powerful, this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealer, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive it, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C is the one that has the catfish smell in the aroma in the carpets, and sometimes they can't get it out, Big C. So why do you cook catfish in the back of the Cadillac Escalade? That's what I want to know, Big C.
Charlton, as long as you're cooking fish in the back,
yeah.
You always have guards around your vehicle. You got cats around that are not going to let anybody break into your vehicle. Okay?
Yeah, that's very true.
Call somebody down for that.
Well,
okay?
well, out in California, they use the Rottweiler for that. You guys use the catfish smell, Big C. I think they both are effective, Big C. But also, I do want to think back to what you were saying about all the things that are happening in our society, and I think it's brilliant. I think right now we're seeing all the deep thinkers, the intellectual thinkers, people who think like maybe a Socrates, or people who think like maybe an Einstein or a Thurgood Marshall. This is a platform for intelligent people. We're always going to get the knee-jerk reaction, the ignorant people who just want to spout and give death threats to people because they're not that smart. But for the smart people in our society, Big C, those are the ones who don't get so upset about Black Lives Mattering or about white lives mattering or about women's rights mattering. It's all about how do we get law enforcement, whether you're the clergy or law enforcement or even if you're corporate America. How do you tell the people who are bad in your industry that they have to go? If someone works in corporate America, if they go around and harm other people with impunity, they have to go. They will get fired. And unfortunately,
with embezzlement, Charlton, they have to go.
Embezzlement, yeah, we've seen that happen. So, and I have a lot of friends in law enforcement, and they know there's some bad apples. The only problem with law enforcement, it says to protect and serve the public, but they know, and they know this is true. They don't turn their bad guys in. They would rather have the whole police department shamed by just a few bad apples that they know in their heart. If some of those bad apples harm their own families, Big C, they would be the first to turn them in. But unfortunately, when they hurt African-American kids, especially boys, they try to brush it under the carpet, and now that everyone has a video camera, and I'm proud of the President Obama saying we all need to have video cameras, well, people are being shot anyway, and that's just not right. Imagine if these black people that were shot were young white kids, blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm sure the media wouldn't say, hey, let's not talk about it right now. You know, let's deal with that on another platform. Big C, your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, if you look at the oppression of races throughout mainstream America, throughout the history of America, it started with slavery.
Yeah.
The oppression of Africans at that time, before they became African Americans.
Yeah.
And as you move forward, Charlton, you look at the oppression of the Native Americans,
yeah.
the Indians, the Native Indians of America, how they were oppressed. You go back and you look at World War II, Charlton, the internment of the Japanese Americans.
Yeah.
Where everything they had was taken from them by mainstream America.
Yeah.
They lost Southern California as a whole because of mainstream America. San Francisco also.
Yeah.
Now you look at what's going on through oppression in America, where African Americans are in fear every day of those who are supposed to serve and protect.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about respecting the police officer, growing up you had the utmost respect for them.
Yeah.
And I have friends and I have family members that have been in law enforcement, Charlton.
Yeah.
I deal with them still daily. My friends who are in law enforcement, daily basis. And, you know, they're oppressed and they're appalled by the actions of their brethren that are going on.
Yeah.
They understand the fear factor, but they're oppressed and appalled by what's going on through these other officers' actions.
Yeah.
But it's to protect the shield. The same thing that the NFL says, protect the shield. This is a code that these law enforcement are forced to go by.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you want to make sure that somebody has your back in case something goes wrong. You don't want to say, hey, he's a snitch. We're not going to go in and back him up.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point you just brought up. And, of course, this is Charlton and Big C Sports worldwide on the iHeart Radio Network. And I love intelligent people. I love intelligent dialogue. So we'll get into some sports also. But I just want everyone to keep in mind, if you think about the history, I met an older gentleman today from the South. He was actually from South Carolina, and we were just talking about some things. And he, you know, I carry myself a different way, I guess, than what he's used to seeing in the South, Big C. But he mentioned that some of the things that are going on right now, they've always gone on. You just never had video cameras, and you didn't have law enforcement that would come to your aid. Oftentimes, they didn't call the police because the police were the ones commit the crimes against the black Americans. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's a fact.
Let me inject just a quick thought.
Yeah.
A year ago in Charlotte, Dylan Booth walks in, shoots up a black church in Charlotte. Shoots up a black church. People in Bible study.
Yeah.
They're having prayer. The police in Charlotte, Charlton, on the way to jail, took him to Burger King.
Yeah.
Okay, is that equal justice, Charlton?
No.
Is that fair, equitable treatment among societal and the racist?
Yeah.
That you take a guy who has just gunned down 9 people, took the lives of 9 innocent citizens.
Yeah.
And you take him to Burger King so he can have a nice, fulfilling meal before you take him to lockup. We want to talk about injustice in America, Charlton. Let that be played on national news. Let them talk about how law enforcement in Charlotte treated a known murderer, Charlton.
Yeah.
Not alleged, a known murderer.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, too, because someday we're going to get to the end of this. but it's going to take dialogue, and I think this is so important. We have so many intelligent people talking about a solution. They wanted to know, how can we solve this problem? And I think
it becomes political, Charlton.
Yeah.
It's not about athletes. It's not about
it's about people, society.
Because you and I tell the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, this is real talk between you and I. We have to have real dialogue between law enforcement, attorney generals, and politicians. The politicians, Charlton, have been silent. They've been mum on this.
Yeah.
They do not want to upset their constituents by speaking out on these issues.
Well,
they almost act like we talk about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Black votes matter also, Charlton.
Well, see, I think Hillary and Bill, aren't they having a speech coming up pretty soon?
Monday night.
On Monday night.
A presidential debate. I want to see how much of this debate, which is hosted by Lester Holt from NBC, an African-American anchor.
Yeah.
How much of this will be directed towards the racial injustice and unrest that's going on in America, Charlton, and it has continued in America for decades.
Well, also, I'm sure that people like Trent Dilfer will tell them to sit down and shut up. They just want to cover the sports Big C.
Hey, him and Dabu Sweeney. Dabu Sweeney. This is going on in his backyard in Carolina, Charlton.
Yeah.
Where's Dabu Sweeney telling people sit down and shut up and don't worry about what happened?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we know unless we have people like ourselves that bring a cause to it, and we'll get into some sports too, but how are you going to play football in basketball and baseball as an African American? If you're just an ignorant person, just be like a Don King and go out and use the N-word in the church. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people like that. They just want to play sports. They couldn't care less if their kids are safe. But I, on the other hand, I want to make sure that all kids are safe and that all women are safe. I think it only happens by a dialogue, Big C. And speaking of dialogue, this segment is sponsored by the California Lottery. And what can a buck do for you? I'm about to start asking for my money back because I've been praying that I win the winning lotto ticket, Big C. But every time I check, they give me the wrong ticket. So I want to go talk to the lotto about why you're sponsoring us and you're not giving me the winning ticket. Have you gotten the winning ticket, Big C, or is it just me out here at Big C?
I think I'm the one funding the fund.
Okay. You think you're the one sponsoring the lottery, Big C? Is that what it is? Go ahead. It seems like I have a little bit of technical difficulty with your microphone, Big C.
Well, Charlton, I think the lottery is worse than putting your money in a bank. I haven't gotten any return.
Yeah, I might have to change that sponsorship because I'm like, at least a slot machine gives you some money out every now and then. But still, what a buck can do for you. But I want to make sure that people do it responsibly. Don't do like Big C and take your whole paycheck for that day down there, which to him is like more than a lot of people making a whole month, Big C, so it's not a problem for you. But anyway, when it goes back to the game of football and sports, and I'm so proud of our society, and I know there's a thing that I'm going to say that sometimes is controversial because people don't want to believe it. They talk about Dr. Mendo and Dr. Gregory Leakey. They talked about how life all began in Africa in the Ethiopia region. And there are a lot of scientists that know it's a scientific fact that all people come from the same genetic structure. They're just skin melanin is more prevalent in African Americans than it is in Caucasians. So the fact is, when African Americans do something, whether it's rock and roll or whatever, oftentimes the mainstream will take it and say that it's theirs. Now, we talk about Chuck Berry or also Elvis Presley. How does that matter today? I think this talk about social consciousness has always affected African Americans more so than Caucasians, even since slavery and the Emancipation Proclamation. Now that we've talked about it for almost a year, I see more of my white brethren coming along and talking about it, except for guys like Bob Costas and Jim Nance. They just care about golf and who scored a touchdown or whatever. But I do want to congratulate my white brethren, especially the ones that own corporations. And we talked about the gentlemen that run sports leagues. The average sycophants, they just want you to talk about sports, and they want the young black athletes to be big, fast, and dumb. And that's why Don King was such an embarrassment yesterday. Not just yesterday, but about a week ago when he stood up in an African-American church with a Donald Trump as they're all laughing and giggling, Big C, as if it was funny, and he's dropping an N-word like he's a rapper. And here's a guy who wants to be president, and he's sitting there laughing like it's okay, because he should have said, Don King, that's not acceptable. If Don King would have stood up and hit a woman in church, would he laugh at that too? Or would he say that's not acceptable? Well, maybe he would have. That's true, maybe he would have. But I just think that our white brethren, men and women, they're starting to at least realize that everybody doesn't live the lifestyle that the majority of them do. Most of them don't worry about their kids being shot by law enforcement. Most of them don't worry about their kids being harmed by law enforcement and then law enforcement covering it up. Most of them don't have to worry about blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids being racially profiled because they're driving in a nice vehicle. And it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor when you're African-American. We all have those stories. So I congratulate all of our intelligent athletes. The dumb ones, maybe they'll catch it next year. of all colors, the intelligent people, the insightful people. I think that's why America is so great, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, I'm going to take that back to football. And Coach Chip Kelly of the San Francisco 49ers, who stood up and told the media today that he felt appalled by what's going on in America.
Yeah.
And it rolls into sports because all of the media who address Colin Kaepernick do not ask him about sports. He's a backup quarterback with the San Francisco 49ers, but they're more concerned about his social stance instead of his athletic paralysis. And he told them all that they were wrong.
Yeah.
That they should be sick about what's going on in America, not battering Colin Kaepernick about him taking a knee. And Charlton, look at it from this perspective. Colin Kaepernick takes a knee during the national anthem. He's not sitting.
Yeah.
He's taking a knee. That is very respectful. That is like taking prayer during the national anthem.
Yeah.
When people address the Queen of England, they take a knee.
Yeah.
They bow down.
Yeah.
When you do that in Japan, in China, you bow. And that's what Colin Kaepernick is doing. He is bowing to the flag, but those people who are ignorant and racist are saying that he's being disrespectful. He is showing the utmost respect to the flag by bowing and lowering his head, Charlton.
Well, Big C, that's so brilliant. And one more thing I'll bring up about that is some of these reporters. There was a knucklehead guy from Santa Rosa, California, where I got my broadcast start, and he was chastising Skip Kelly about why are you sticking up for Colin Kaepernick. He said nothing about the young black kids who are harmed by law enforcement, and even goes back to the Kerner Commission that the late President Lyndon Baines Johnson commissioned. It was about race being two societies separate and unequal. It's painful, but it's more painful for the kid being shot by a law enforcement officer, or even some of the crime that creates and the poverty that creates crime in certain neighborhoods. So I just employ all intelligent people. We know not everybody is intelligent. There's going to be some knuckleheads, and they're always going to be ignorant.
Well, Charlton, that reporter most likely goes home to his gated community at night.
Mostly white neighborhood where he doesn't have even people of color,
With a paid security company driving around the neighborhood, not worrying about people coming, breaking in his window, kicking in his door, knocking out the window on his car. So he's secure away from that type of lifestyle, Charlton, where he would not want to spend a night in the inner city. And he's sitting out there with those ravenous people, not knowing any certainty about how his safety is going to be.
And one more thing I'll bring up as we get into a little bit of sports, Big C. I just want to say to everyone that's intelligent, because there are two peoples in our society. There are those who think and those who are just dumb knuckleheads. And you got to decide which one you are if you're listening. But Commissioner Roger Goodell for the NFL, also Commissioner Adam Silver, NBA, Commissioner Rob Manfred of the Major League Baseball, and NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, they're all in line with Colin Kaepernick, as well as the owners of the 49ers. They're trying to also find a way to help end poverty by creating social programs and education. And education doesn't mean you went to Harvard or Stanford. It just means you're socially aware of how other people are affected in the society, whether it's men or women. And speaking of society, Big C, I just want to get you into a few thoughts about what's happening. Tonight we have an NFL football game. And I know a lot of the times people think that the NFL is just a place to watch sports, but I'm so impressed with all of our men and women in society lately because Colin Kaepernick took a stand, and he's trying to make sure that all kids are created equal and treated equally, Big C. But there's some football to talk about. Just want to get your thoughts on not only this Thursday night game, but we got to find out how we're going to make sure that this is just not a week that goes by and we all get back to sports and not worrying about how to eradicate poverty from our inner cities and even our rural communities, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, getting back into the NFL in full blow, we got the Houston Oilers tonight at the New England Patriots. Okay?
Yeah.
Both teams are 2-0. Jacoby Brissett is the supposed starter tonight for the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
He will be the second starter, but he will also be the third rookie quarterback to start this year in the NFL.
Yeah.
In the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
And Cody Kessler will make it the fourth starting for the Browns on Sunday. But you think about New England's offense and the success that every quarterback has had, Charlton, that they brought into this system.
Yeah.
They put Josh McDaniels is a marvelous offensive coordinator there in New England.
Yeah.
He's been a part of all their Super Bowl championships. But you look at the Houston defense. Their Houston defense is one of the top three defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
They're playing lights out. Brock Osweiler tonight, we will see if he'll earn his medal as a $75 million quarterback.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, Big C. I don't even think he needs.
Bill Belichick.
He doesn't even need the lottery, Big C, with that kind of money. And I don't think he's won a playoff game. Oh, right, he hit the lottery already, Big C. That's what you're saying.
He got $37 million guaranteed, Charlton.
That's so funny.
Houston's off to a 2-0 start. I mean, he has a great receiving core.
Yeah.
But with Jacoby Brissett, this is only the 5th time that New England has been an underdog at home since they won their first Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that's a lot when you go against Belichick. It's amazing how they can go on the road and win a game at Arizona, which has a very good team under Coach Arians, and yet they're an underdog at home when they won on the road at Arizona, which actually blew out Tampa Bay. I mean, that's a tough thing to go against Belichick, and I won't go against New England until they actually lose a game, Big C. And I just want your thoughts. Are they losing that edge that the media has, or is this just a Las Vegas setup, Big C?
Well, this could be, but if Bill Belichick wins this game tonight with New England, it really pronounces him as the greatest coach of all time, Charlton.
Yeah.
That you can take 2 young quarterbacks who've never started an NFL game, and you can go 3-0, possibly 4-0 prior to Tom Brady returning.
Yeah, and that's true.
This is a marvelous mind. You got to realize he was a defensive coordinator for the Giants when they won their first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he had great defensive players like Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
Doug Martin. So he understands the game. Harry Carson.
But Coach Parcells got most of the credit. Would you agree with that, Big C? And Parcells was a good coach, but how many Super Bowls did Parcells win when he did not have Belichick on his staff, Big C?
He won 2 Super Bowls, Charlton, with Bill Belichick as his defensive coordinator.
Yeah. And
he never made it to the Super Bowl again without him.
Without him. Yep.
Okay, without him. So how many times have Bill Belichick, he's been to the Super Bowls, 6, 7 times with the Patriots?
Yeah.
2 times with the Giants, Charlton. So when you talk about a guy's visit to the hollow grounds of the NFL, the Super Bowl, Bill Belichick is the ultimate coach.
Yeah.
So I don't doubt Belichick. Win or lose, I don't doubt him, Charlton.
No, he's someone who's definitely earned his stars and stripes. And speaking of earning your stars and stripes, this segment is sponsored by United Labor Guaranteed Life Insurance up to $100,000. No medical questions. We're also endorsed by the American Cancer Society and the American Heart Association. We work with all of the unions in the United States under the AFL-CIO, and we're also looking to employ over 1,000 licensed insurance brokers to go to work. Tweet out to Charlton and Big C Sports for that. And also, Big C, when you look at more things that are happening in the NFL, I think when you look at some of the top teams and why they're still the top teams, I can't get away. We talk about how many quarterbacks. Think about this. How many quarterbacks throughout the NFL get the top paycheck, whether it's a guy like, Andrew Luck, whether it's the guy down in Atlanta, Ryan, or it doesn't matter who it is, Rodgers. The Denver Broncos right now, they are not only the hottest team over the past several games, Big C, but they're not doing it with these $100 million quarterbacks. They're doing it with defense. How are they bucking the trend? I'm not saying they're the 85 Bears, Big C, but they are bucking the trend as to where you should put your money. And because Miller got a lot of pushback being a defensive guy, he's right now the most valuable player in the league, in my opinion, Big C.
Well, Trevor Siemian is a guy who is doing what's asked of him, Charlton.
Yeah.
He's not going out, and he's actually playing better than what Peyton Manning did at this time last year.
Yeah.
He's staying within the system. He's getting rid of the ball. He's throwing a nice pass to open receivers. But that defense of the Denver Broncos, Charlton, if you look at it since halfway through last season, and where they've got through this season, they shut down Ben Roethlisberger in the playoffs last year. They shut down Tom Brady in the playoffs last year. They shut down Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. Yeah. They've come out this year, shut down Cam Newton again. Yep. And this defense.
And also Andrew Luck. They shut down Andrew Luck again, caused the fumble. And it was Miller, the guy that they didn't want to pay. They paid Luck, who didn't even play last year. And I'm not saying there's any race behind that, even though we know it is, Big C. But that's ironic when you look across the board. The teams that have the best defenses, I believe they won 8 of the last 10 Super Bowls. If my math is not right, maybe 7 of the last 10. But why are they the lowest paid players is a crazy thing. My contention is most of the star players on defense happen to be African American. And I'm going to go there because it's still not the highest paid position in the league when you play defense great. Even though quarterback is, pejoratively, they're Caucasian. And even though the NFL is trying to do some things right, there's still that stigma that they want to be led by a white man. And I hope that we got to break that stigma while we're alive and not let our kids and grandkids go through the same garbage. Pay people who produce results. And that's what Von Miller's done. There's no way you can look at his performance versus Andrew Luck and say that Andrew Luck should make $144 million while he's only getting just over $100 million. Big C, your thoughts on that?
Well, when when you look at it, Charlton, African Americans push each other. They compete against each other. And that's been throughout history, whether it was in boxing, baseball, track and field.
Yeah.
They have to compete against each other. And when you look at the defenses in the NFL, they're mainly stacked with African Americans.
Exactly.
So
what are you saying? You're saying that Trent Dilfer's going to tell them all to sit down and shut up, Big C? Oh, he didn't say it to Ray Lewis, so maybe he won't do it for him.
Well, when you look at the teammates that, Trent Dilfer had when he was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He probably sit over in his locker and wouldn't say a word because on defense it was run by African Americans. They had Ed Reed, Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Great defenders, Charlton, when he was in Baltimore. So all he had to do was hand off the ball. He had Lewis, at running back, who rushed for 2,000 yards. So his job was easy.
Yeah.
He had Sharp at tight end, and we know how outspoken Sharp is.
Yeah, I love it. Is he the one that's on?
Much that Dilfer said during his playing days, so he has an opportunity to talk now on television.
Yeah.
And he can backlash these people that he never got a chance to overspeak in the locker room.
Well, yeah.
But when you look at African Americans making each other better, Charlton.
Yeah.
Now you look at the teams in the NFL that have an African American quarterback. They normally have two.
Yeah.
Because they want someone of the same ability. If the first one goes down, you're bringing in somebody of the same athletic and arm strength.
Yeah.
So, it's amazing how they all stacked on just a couple teams in the NFL. And the rest of the NFL, when you look around, you're going to tell me that you can't find an African-American quarterback, Charlton, better than Jay Cutler?
Obviously they can't, Big C. Maybe they could go back and get Doug Williams. He might have. Or what about the kid that played at Texas, Vince Young? He was the most dominant player in the history of college football in the Rose Bowl. Over 800 yards total offense. Can't find a job. Can't find a job.
He was 33-19 as a starter.
In the NFL, yeah.
In the NFL, 33-19 as a starter in the NFL. It wasn't an NFL caliber quarterback, they said.
Yeah.
He could not win. So you show me how many quarterbacks in the NFL have a better winning percentage than what Vince Young did before the league said you can't stay in this league because you play too well.
Yeah. Right.
You got a winning percentage better than 80% of the mainstream quarterbacks in the league. We don't want you around.
Well,
and so, but when you look at where they stack African Americans, they stack African Americans at wide receiver, Charlton.
Yeah.
Speed position. How many Caucasian wide receivers of quality and of threat are in the NFL?
Well, Big C.
You look at defensive ends, Charlton. J.J. Watt is the most dominant.
He's a dominant player.
But majority of the players at defensive end are African American. All the cornerbacks in the NFL, Charlton, are African American.
Yeah.
I think we have 2 or 3 white safeties in the NFL. So these players have to compete against each other. They stack those positions. But they don't stack African Americans at quarterback.
Yeah.
Look at college football, Charlton. African Americans can compete and win national championships.
Yeah.
They can keep their teams ranked in the top 10, but they don't get drafted.
That's
Where
true.
was Cal ranked last year in the country, Charlton?
They didn't even finish in the top part of their conference, Big C, in the Pac-12.
Okay.
Well, that's
but
part
they
of
get the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, and he still haven't played. So anyway, I just want to bring this up also. I'm doing this thing coming up in October on successful entrepreneurs, and I think it's so important. And it's multiracial. It's everybody from different groups. We have a couple of attorneys from the NFL that are going to be part of that too, Big C. And also I want to thank some entrepreneurs that I know. Saeed Bayerfield, she's excellent when it comes to communication, and she's working in the insurance industry and also being a positive role model to the youth, Big C. And they're also Myra De Leon. She's also an insurance broker here in California, so looking at help with her. Also, I work with a lady named Cindy, and we help get uniforms out to professional and youth teams, Big C. But I want to bring this up because this is about how we create opportunities. And I want to make sure that not only can we talk about scores in sports, but I want part of this national dialogue to be on how do you create opportunities for all people, not just African Americans. In Fortune magazine, it has Hillary Clinton, who I believe should be the next president of the United States based on who we have running against her. But it talks about the 100 fastest growing companies in the world. And I say that because what you've been opening my minds to, Big C, and I know it took me a little bit longer because I don't drink as much moonshine as you do, so sometimes I'm a little bit uptight, Big C. But I think
you see on the other side.
Yeah, you see on the other side, right? I become clairvoyant, Big C, is what I become. But I want people, if they get a chance, pick up Fortune magazine, and it talks about the 100 fastest growing companies in the world, Big C. Why is that important? It's important because when the commissioners of the top 4 leagues in sports, NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball and hockey, they're talking about eradicating poverty. Everyone who's looking to increase their economic income, you got to understand some of the top companies in the world that are out there. And I think for African Americans, the paradigm shift will come when we start getting support from mainstream telling kids it's okay not just to be a football jock. It's okay not to just play football, basketball, and baseball. I understand what these top companies are doing. They're all experiencing people who understand math and science and great communication skills, Big C. That means you and I might have a job someday, Big C, outside of doing this for fun and having a great time doing it. But I think it's so important that we get our communities of color and even women, etc., to focus on opportunities worldwide as an entrepreneur, Big C. That will eradicate a lot of poverty. Just your thoughts on that Fortune magazine article and how it can compare to people who love sports, Big C.
Well, I want to go beyond that Fortune magazine article, Charlton, and I want to congratulate Mark Zuckerberg and his wife, the creator of Facebook. Over the next 12 years, they're going to donate $8 billion of their own money into social issues across America to help improve social situations throughout all communities. $8 billion from his own organization. I think if the rest of corporate America came along, Charlton, instead of just worried about profiteering for board members and stock shareholders, let's not pillage off of America. Let's help America. That's what the Fortune 500 is there for. They're there for a reason, Charlton. That top 100 companies. Take 10% of your growth, put it back in the local communities within the state where your corporation is, or where your CEO is. You know, I look at a situation where they just had a CEO of American Airlines bought out because the consolidation between American Airlines and U.S. Air. He got an $11 million buyout, Charles.
$11 million buyout.
$11 million for losing his job. They give him $11 million. Normally, they don't give people a paycheck when they leave.
That's true.
But they gave him $11 million to walk out the door.
Well,
what did he do? He went and became a consultant for another airline.
Well, I just want to say that's very powerful, Big C. This final segment is sponsored by One Life America Life Insurance. We're the leaders in the country when it comes to final expense. Tweet out the Charlton and Big C Sports. Looking also to contribute to the economy. I'm looking to hire over 1,000 licensed insurance brokers to go to work with Charlton and Big C Sports, offering life insurance to protect American families. Also, beneath this wings foundation.org and CYNN Entertainment. When it comes to promotion, Cynthia Evans, she's the best in Northern California. And as we just talk about the sports business, Big C, and what Colin Kaepernick is talking about, this the same article in Fortune magazine, the September 15th, 2016 article. In the fastest growing companies in the world, the 100 fastest, you know what they're talking about, Big C? Economic opportunity. The same thing that Colin Kaepernick is being chastised for because he's aiming that economic opportunity at people of color. Now, if it were just aimed at perhaps the white society, maybe people would stand up and clap. But the same thing in Fortune magazine, Big C. You know, the magazine for smart people. The fastest 100 growing companies in the world, they're all talking about creating opportunity. But when Colin Kaepernick talked about it, he got shot down and chastised, Big C. I just want to get your thoughts on what sports people can learn about why they should be entrepreneurs, because your sports business only lasts about 3.5 years if you're playing in the NFL, but you have to have some place to go when you take the jersey off, Big C. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Charlton, when you look at it, even with Colin Kaepernick, you got to understand with an athlete, that's their job, okay? It's not them as an individual. It's just their job. Colin Kaepernick, yes, he's a quarterback in the NFL, but it's not Colin Kaepernick. He's still the individual. As well as any other athlete, whether we were talking about Kobe, Shaq, Michael Jordan at the time of his playing, Scottie Pippen, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Allen Iverson. They were athletes, Charlton, but it did not define them as a person. And that's where people are making the mistake with Colin Kaepernick. They thinking that him being an athlete is the only thing that he is in life. No, he's not. He's an aware young man. That's what he is. He didn't ask to create a racial divide.
No, not at all.
All he did was ask to create awareness as a human being. Take the athletic side of it, Charlton. Who pays attention to Colin Kaepernick? Don't make him a martyr because he's an athlete. Because you're trying to hide behind his athletic banner. Don't do that. Hide, take a look at his social banner. Take a look at what he's standing for. It's not the San Francisco 49ers, which is Colin Kaepernick is representing. It's Colin Kaepernick, the person. He just happened to be doing this at work. Think about how many other people at work, Charlton, do not salute the flag. They don't salute it in the schools anymore. Okay?
Well,
so America took that out of the school system.
Yeah.
Not Colin Kaepernick, but what parent What fool is talking about, taking Colin Kaepernick's life is going to a school and saying, hey, you guys need to stand and salute the flag.
Well, Big C, it's so important because, and I agree with you 100%, opportunity is great. With the iHeart Radio Network, you can listen to Charlton and Big C Sports. You can listen to Katy Perry. You can listen to Carrie Underwood. There's Jay-Z. There's so many talented stars and part of the iHeart Radio Network, and that's why you can find Charlton and Big C Sports, where there's programs from ESPN, Fox, CBS, or Google, Facebook. They're all there, so that's why I take our show so serious, Big C. I refuse to just be a dumb sycophant talking about sports. I love the opportunities to get people to open their mind. Yeah, we'll talk about sports too, but there's an article I'm going to be doing too, focused on the top 50 most powerful women in the United States in business. I want to make sure that they're also part of the sports business, Big C. It's not just about us being dumb jocks. And we happen to be African American. I know that rubs some people wrong that we don't just talk about football and basketball or baseball, but I want to have intelligent people following Charlton and B Sports on the iHeart Radio Network. So, Big C, in the last minute, I'll let you close out on what it means to be socially conscious. It doesn't mean to be dumb. It means to give hope. It means to give solutions. And you can get that every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time at Charlton and Big C Sports. Your thoughts, Big C?
Socially conscious, Charlton, is being appreciative of life.
Yeah.
That's what social consciousness is. It's not about a race thing.
Yeah.
It's about being appreciative of life, respect for others, understanding that you're no better than anybody else. You may have a privileged situation, Charlton, but you're no better than anybody else. Mainstream society looks at African-American athletes and said, hey, they're doing great.
Yeah.
Why should anybody else complain? Because they got athletes
because they're
to
rich,
watch on television.
Yeah.
They got rappers to listen to on radio.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with their society? They got these people that are doing great. But no one says that about mainstream America, corporate America, where they have billionaires.
Yeah.
Not millionaires, but billionaires. No one's saying, well, they're doing great. They don't have any problems. They belong to the country club.
Yeah.
So when we talk about societal differences, you don't get the African Americans that belong to the country clubs. There's certain restaurants that they're still not accepted in, Charlton, because they'll be told at the door where you're not dressed properly, or it requires a reservation that's a month away.
Yeah.
So when we talk about equality in America, Charlton, it comes down to respect. Who respects who?
Yeah.
We're not seeing that from law enforcement. We're not seeing that from uneducated citizens, Charlton.
Yeah.
The lack of respect in American society, and try to put all the emphasis on athletes to create a parallel where everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
They say, well, if the athlete's talking to be okay, it comes down to the politicians, Charlton, and just how I opened the show.
Yeah.
The attorney generals of the United States are the ones that are responsible for not making a difference. Now, I'm not saying making a difference, but not making a difference, not holding into account those people that they police. And as long as the attorney generals, Charlton, do not police the police of America, we will continue to have this racial and police injustice in America, Charlton.
Well, Big C, that's very well said. I've always said that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide, you can follow Charlton and Big C Sports and learn more about sports and also real life. That's why we call it Real Talk Big C. And I also want to say to everyone, let's keep our women safe. Let's make sure that no woman has to go through life being harmed. If you see any woman in trouble, just call 911 and keep our women safe. Every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide. Listen to Charlton and Big C Sports. And as we always like to say, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.